Football is about controlling that anger, harnessing that aggression into a team effort to achieve perfection. We will be perfect in every aspect of the game. You drop a pass, you run a mile. You miss a blocking assignment, you run a mile. You fumble the football, you run a mile. In perfection. You run a mile in perfection. Let's go to work. Hello, folks. Welcome to Jeremy Hather's YouTube channel. I'm your host, Jeremy Hather, and today I'll be continuing the GOAT series. Haha, you thought I was done? No. I'm not done here yet, folks. We're not done here. I might have gotten the positions done for the GOAT series, but we didn't talk about coaches, and that's what we're talking about today. We talk about the greatest coaches of all time in NFL history. Before I start this video, make sure you leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already. Already at 260 subs. Congrats. I love it there. Let's try to get some more subs and more likes on this video here and support the channel. Appreciate it. Now, let me remind you guys of the rules if you're not already familiar with the rules of the GOAT series. I choose 5 guys, have an honorable mention. The criteria for this episode, which is rare because all the others were all of the players. This is coaches here. This will consist of records, championships, how they revolutionized the game, players they coached, adversity never willing to give up, and looking a little bit at their coaching tree here and there. What is a coach, Jeremy? Well, a coach to me, when I think about coaching, is all about taking players, analyzing their ability, what they're good at, what they're not good at, utilizing the strengths that they're good at, their ability, and put them in position where they can excel within the framework of a team winning. Now, Jeremy, what do you got to be an NFL head coach? Well, for me, when I think about coaching, it's all about taking the players and analyzing their ability of what they're good at, what their strengths and their weaknesses, and put them in a position where they can excel within the framework of the team winning. So use those strengths all together to excel at that, but also help them with their weaknesses, try and improve them and get better as a player and make the team better overall. And then we get to honorable mention. This guy coached 29 seasons as an NFL head coach with the Dallas Cowboys. Tom Landry, his regular season record, folks, is 250 wins, 162 losses, and 6 ties. The winning percentage for that is .605. His postseason record is 20-16. That's .556 winning percentage. Overall combination is 270 wins, 178 losses, and 6 ties. That is .601 for a winning percentage. One-time NFL Coach of the Year, made the Dallas Cowboys Ring of Honor, won 2 Super Bowls as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, and won an NFL championship before the Super Bowl, pre-Super Bowl era. Interesting fact about Tom Landry, he played punter in the NFL. That's an interesting fact I like to say about Tom Landry. Tom has coached a lot of great players in his time. Roger Staubach is the guy I think of the most. Rayfield Wright, Randy White, Mel Renfro, Bob Hayes, and Tony Dorsett. Those are guys that stick out to me when I think of Tom Landry coaching these guys and helping them exceed. Now, with Tom Landry, he is known for his defensive mind. He was with Vince Lombardi with the New York Giants way back then before he was the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. And when I think of Tom Landry, I always think of the defensive mind, Ice Bowl. As a Packers fan, I know it very well. But Tom Landry, just an amazing coach with the defensive mind. He would make the Dallas Cowboys defense one of the best. And he just helped the team overall.
Really, it's because of concentration. Concentration, to me, is the most important quality that an athlete can have.
I mean, you can look at his coaching tree here. Now, his coaching tree, the people that worked under him that became head coaches is what his head coaching tree is called. He had Dick Nolan, Dan Reeves, Mike Shanahan, Gary Kubiak. I think most people know him, and Mike Shanahan the most, I think, people. There's Mike Nolan, who a lot of people might remember if you're Mike Ditka. I think most people remember him. Ron Mayer, Dan McGinnis, Jack Del Rio, Mike Singletary, the guy who skims in your face. We mentioned on this before. And Jim Harbaugh, another name, if you guys don't know him that very much. He's the head coach of Michigan, but he was the head coach of the 49ers for a couple of years. Good success with that, I would like to say, for his coaching tree with Tom Landry, because it went generation to generation pretty much when you go down the thing. And again, the defensive mind with Tom Landry, he helped make them be so great. So I'd like to give appreciation. I don't have him here higher this list as my honorable mention. And I want to mention this also is a quote from Tom Landry, what he thinks about NFL head coaching. A coach is someone who tells you what you don't want to hear, who has you see what you don't want to see, so you can be who you have always known you could be. So a coach is always helping players show their ability of what they're best known for, help bring their best out of themselves. That's the main point of the message that Tom Landry is saying in this quote. So once again, Tom Landry as my honorable mention. And now we move on to our next head coach. This guy coached 26 years with the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. As of right now, he's still coaching, ladies and gentlemen, still coaching. That is Andy Reid. If you know him best, he loves cheeseburgers, folks. He loves the cheeseburgers.
May you all get a gift as great as this. Cheeseburgers in paradise, man.
He's a two-time Super Bowl champion, one-time NFL Coach of the Year, won a Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers as an assistant head coach with Mike Holmgren. His regular season record, folks, 247 wins, 138 losses, 1 tie, 0.641 winning percentage from that. His postseason record is 22 wins, 16 losses. That's 0.579 winning percentage. His career in total is 269 wins and 154 losses and 1 tie. That's a 0.636 winning percentage. Again, Andy Reid is the current head coach. As of right now this season, I'm not counting any of them. This is before the 2023 season, to clarify, folks, of how many wins, losses, all that, folks, just to clarify. Other things that Andy Reid accomplished: captured 6 division titles, 5 trips to the NFC Championship game with the Philadelphia Eagles. Despite his success, he never won the Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles. He always helped the Eagles do so well and dominate in their conference, but he never could pull it all the way up. But he can never win the Super Bowl. That was the big thing with Andy Reid. He can never get the job completely done, even though he would get the Eagles to the Super Bowl a couple times and dominate in the NFC. And in Andy Reid's time as NFL head coach, he has sent 19 players to 44 Pro Bowl appearances. Incredible. He sent 19 guys to 44 Pro Bowl appearances. That's amazing. Now, that's the highest total of for any team in NFL during that period, and none of those players had ever made to the Pro Bowl before Andy Reid was hired. That's an interesting fact. With the Kansas City Chiefs, he made 5 trips to the AFC Championship. He has won 7 straight AFC West division titles. As of right now, he still has that streak. He has won 2 Super Bowls with the Kansas City Chiefs. One was against the Philadelphia Eagles just recently. Sorry, Eagle fans. Sorry about that. And another thing I'd like to mention about Andy Reid was his coaching tree. He started under Mike Holmgren, who was the Green Bay Packers head coach at the time. When I mentioned he won the Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers, he was assistant coach. So it went from Andy Reid, above him was Mike Holmgren, as I just mentioned. Above that was Bill Walsh. So from Bill Walsh to Mike Holmgren to Andy Reid and to now the rest of these guys here, which I'll mention, which are John Harbaugh, Steve Spagnuolo, Leslie Frazier, Ron Rivera, Matt Nagy, Dave Cooley, Pat Shurmur, Todd Bowles, Doug Peterson, Eagle fans should know him very well, and Sean McDermott, Bills Mafia. Most of these guys I mentioned have been current or have recently been the NFL head coaches. John Harbaugh with the Baltimore Ravens, Ron Rivera with the Carolina Panthers, who's now with the Washington Commanders, Todd Bowles, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Doug Peterson, Philadelphia Eagles, now the Jaguars, Sean McDermott, Buffalo Bills. Amazing to see this head coaching tree. A lot of these guys have made success, and just awesome to see that. As if you're an NFL head coach and you see the guys that work under you achieve so much, that's all you can do as coaches, as an NFL head coach, is make your own coaches succeed. Amazing to see that. Also like to mention the great players that have been with Andy Reid. Patrick Mahomes, I think everyone knows that, obviously. Dominic McNabb, Brian Dawkins, Travis Kelce, who's dating Taylor Swift, but we'll see how long that goes. Jason Kelce, amazing guy, one of the best centers in NFL history, as I mentioned on my previous video, and Travis Kelce too. Michael Vick, Brian Westbrook, Jamal Charles, Terrell Owens, Thomas, Deshaun Jackson, Eric Berry, Akers, Tyreek Hill. Amazing players, as I mentioned that again. Just amazing to see. Like Andy Reid, throughout his entire head coaching, he could never get the job done until he was with the Kansas City Chiefs. Until he was with them, then he finally got the Super Bowl done. But for many years, that was the issue. He could never win the title, but he would get you so far. That was always the concern. And just amazing to see with Andy Reid how much His like the people that have worked under him, the players that I've worked with, just amazing people all around of their success. Amazing to see that. And I also like to mention a quote that Andy Reid once said. Everybody makes their own decisions. I mean, that's the way it is in life. That's the way it is in football. Certain guys do it one way, certain guys do it another way. And the main thing when I took away from this quote is there's multiple ways where you can win a Super Bowl. Multiple ways. And Andy Reid had to learn that the hard way. He helped the Philadelphia Eagles achieve so much. He never got the job done. Kansas City Chiefs, he had to learn different ways. And he finally got it done. He finally achieved that, and that's amazing to see. He deserved it definitely to get it done. But once again, Andy Reid is an amazing head coach. We'll see how long he keeps going. He will keep going on my list, but I think he deserves a spot here on this list. Despite the lack of Super Bowls, I think you can't deny what he's accomplished with both the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. So I think Andy Reid deserves to be put on this list. Now let's move on to our next head coach. That is Bill Walsh. Bill Walsh, as I just mentioned, Andy Reid pretty much worked under him from Mike Holmgren. Coached 10 seasons with the 49ers, 3-time Super Bowl champion, 1-time NFL Coach of the Year, 49ers Hall of Fame. His regular season record, 92 wins, 59 losses, 1 tie. That is .609 winning percentage. In the postseason, he was 10-4 with .714. His career in the NFL, 102 wins, 63 losses, 1 tie. That is .617. Now, Bill Walsh, the creator of the West Coast offense, which invented pretty much the game of play action that not many people used way back in the day. Nowadays, you see it so much where you see the receivers get a lot of work done. Like he worked with Jerry Rice, Joe Montana, Steve Young. Amazing players. I mean, I can go a whole list of how many players he lists, but I'm not going to mention that Bill Walsh. He coached too many guys, just amazing people. Coached many great players that were mentioned on my list, like Ronnie Lott, Jerry Rice, Joe Montana. Amazing players just to get on there. He revolutionized the game so much. He just did with the West Coast offense. Because nowadays, you see so many NFL teams use that. Especially the Green Bay Packers back in the day with Brett Favre. They used that a lot. Mike Shanahan used that a lot with the Denver Broncos. Mike Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan, Matt LaFleur. There's so many great guys, and I will go into this coaching tree in 1 second. But so many people use that today, and it's just amazing. It's like the textbook that everyone goes by nowadays with the West Coast offense. It's one of my favorite types of offenses to run and do. A lot of passing involved in it, too. A lot of passing. And now we get into Bill Walsh's coaching tree. The head coaches under him. Mike Holmgren, which I just mentioned, who then had Andy Reid under him. And then we got to all the other people, as I just mentioned. But he also had Steve Mariucci, John Gruden, which I think a lot of people know nowadays, Mike Tomlin. You also had Gus Bradley, John Gruden, which I think a lot of people know, Mike Tomlin, I think a lot of Pittsburgh Steelers fans know. Just amazing coaches from that side, like that went from Bill Walsh, Mike Holmgren, and all these other guys. Then with Dennis Green, you have Brian Billick, which a lot of Raven fans know because he won a Super Bowl with them. In my opinion, he is the greatest coaching tree in NFL history. And that's saying a lot, given what we said about all the rest of these guys so far and to come up later in this video. Amazing to see that. And I also like to mention a quote that he once said.
Good. Now the feet are always moving as he looks for that alternate receiver. Step toward it and throw it. Very good. Very well done.
Concentrate on what will produce results rather than on the results. The process rather than the prize. So you're not going to accomplish the prize. Focus on the steps to accomplishing the goal. Everyone in the NFL wants to win the Super Bowl, but you have to start small in order to achieve big. You're not going to go from tanking franchise to, okay, we're going to win the Super Bowl right away, like in a year span. No, you have to take it step by step in that process because you got to climb the ladder, and then all of a sudden you achieve the goal. You got to take it step by step. If you rush it, you're not going to succeed. You can't rush it. You have to learn the process. You have to do it. Trust the process. As many Sixers fans know and Philadelphia sports fans know. You got to trust it, even though it has not worked out for the Sixers. But a good motto. Good motto, though, folks. Good motto. But once again, Bill Walsh, one of the greatest head coaches. Now we move on to our next head coach. This guy coached 33 seasons. That is the Frank Gore list, folks. I just mentioned Bill Walsh. He coached 10. This guy coached 33. Amazing to see that. And this was with the Colts and the Dolphins. That is Don Shula. Don Shula, 2-time Super Bowl champion, 1-time NFL champion, 4-time head coach of the year. Players that he coached with: Larry Zonka, Bob Grease, Larry Little, Dwight Stevenson, Dan Marino, which I think a lot of people mostly know Dan Marino. Then there's also Johnny Unitas. A lot of people also know him, as I just mentioned in the last episode. Amazing to see that, of how many great players, and there's more I can name, but I want to get short with this, of how many players he coached. NFL records, folks, which is big. Most regular season wins as an NFL head coach, that is 328. Most total wins as an NFL head coach, 347. That's including postseason. And what most people know him for is he's the only NFL head coach to go undefeated through the regular season and the postseason. That was with the Miami Dolphins. They won the Super Bowl. That was in 1972. His regular season record, folks: 328 wins, 156 losses, 6 ties. That's .676 winning percentage. He went 19-17, .528 winning percentage. That's very close, folks. Very close for the postseason, even though he went undefeated in the postseason. His career total, as I mentioned, 347 wins, 173 losses, 6 ties. That's .665 winning percentage. Another NFL records I just mentioned, he's the Frank Gore. He had the most consecutive seasons coached as an NFL head coach. He won 15 division titles, 6 conference titles, 2 NFL championships, went to 6 Super Bowl appearances. That's rare. That's rare for an NFL head coach to do that.
So, Coach, how do you build a superior team?
What I've always felt about team building the superior team, the best team, is surrounding yourself with the best people. I always tried to hire the best assistant coaches and let them coach, and then tried to pick the best players and let them play. And I've always felt that the team that makes the fewest errors generally wins the game.
And now we get into his coaching, which I find a bit interesting. He had Don McCafferty, Chuck Noll, I think a lot of people know, Mont Clark, Wally English, Dave Henning, Dave Shula, Mike Shula, which are pretty much the Suns. But interesting to see how he had Chuck Noll in the head coaching tree. That's, I find, very interesting. I also like to mention a quote that Don Shula said once. The superior man blames himself. The inferior man blames others. Again, I like to say the quotes here of what NFL head coaches. I think it's very important for the quotes are said by NFL head coaches. The point of that quote to me was you got to do it all together. You can't just keep blaming. You got to do it as a group. You got to keep fighting together, because the leaders will show it. The superior man, he's going to be blaming himself. He wants to get better and continue. You got to keep going and get better. You got to become leaders as a whole team. And that was the thing that Don Shula established when he's coaching with the Colts and the Dolphins, is building that team and building leaders on that team. When you have the leaders, they're going to stride and lead your team down the field. That's what you want and help succeed. You need to have a lot of leaders. You need to have a lot of them. And that's something that Don Shula accomplished, which is fascinating to see. But once again, Don Shula, amazing head coach, only coach to go undefeated in a season, in an NFL season. Unbelievable. 1972 Dolphins, one of the greatest teams of all time. Now let's move on to our next head coach. This guy, another current head coach, Bill Belichick. Now, when I think of Bill Belichick, I think of the Super Bowl rings, I think of the defense that he established, Tom Brady, I think of Palpatine, and I think of the Emperor from Star Wars, because he always wears that hoodie and he looks evil. Yeah, not funny. He built an empire. He did build an empire, folks. He's had 29 years of head coaching. I mean, majority of that time was with the New England Patriots, we all know. He was the head coach of the Cleveland Browns for a short time. Was the head coach of the New York Jets. That lasted one day. He gets in the press conference. He's like, "Nope, I don't want to do it." So he leaves the He leaves the Jets and goes to the Patriots, the rival. So great job, Patriots, for getting Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick, 8-time Super Bowl champion, 3-time NFL Coach of the Year. Mentioned the defense, Brady. He also had Lawrence Taylor. Again, people that I've mentioned on this GOAT series list. So many. Rob Gronkowski. But what he's really known for is the defense. He built one of the greatest defenses and systems in NFL history. Without Bill Belichick, the NFL would not be amazing without him. It just wouldn't be.
You've prepared to face this Peyton Manning-led offense more than 20 times in your coaching career. Is there one common thread that stands out to you over the years?
I guess Manning.
He wouldn't be the greatest outside linebacker of all time. You wouldn't be seeing Tom Brady achieve that much if that defense wasn't there, because a lot of times when the Patriots won the Super Bowl, it was the defense. Now, there were a couple times when Tom Brady, they got the job done. Now, there's a couple times where Brady did it, but mostly it was the defense that did it a lot of credit for. Malcolm Butler, most people say, the Seahawks screwed up, but you can go against the Philadelphia Eagles, go against the Carolina Panthers, the St. Louis Rams at the time, the greatest show on turf is what their nickname was, against one of the best offenses of all time against Kurt Warner. So Belichick has gone against some of the best offenses in NFL history and has stopped them. And now I get into a little bit of his records here, folks. He is tied for the most playoff appearances as an NFL head coach, which is 19. He has the most divisional championships as a head coach, 17. His record, folks, before the season began, as I mentioned with Andy Reid, 298 wins and 152 losses in the regular season with a .662 winning percentage. In the postseason, which is unbelievable, 31 playoff wins, 13 playoff losses. That's .705 winning percentage. And in total of all that, 329 wins and 165 losses. And now I want to get into the coaching tree here for a bit. He had Rod Dowhauer, Nick Saban, which a lot of people know from Alabama, Pat Hill. You have Romeo Crennel, Josh McDaniels, which I think a lot of Raider fans know and Bronco fans know. Jim Schwartz, Eagles, Lion fans know him a bit. Bill O'Brien, which Houston Texans fans know very well. Never let him be the GM of your NFL team, folks. Never let that happen. Matt Patricia was the head coach of the Detroit Lions. That did not work out. Brian Flores, who was the head coach of the Miami Dolphins, also famously got Malcolm Butler in on that call. He made the call to get him in there, did that interception against the Seattle Seahawks. Brian Dable, which a lot of New York Giant fans know. So, once again, this head coaching tree, you can look at a bunch of guys, but the thing with his coaching tree, nobody succeeds. And that's been the case for Belichick's coaching tree. Whoever works under him and goes to be an NFL head coach, they can't replicate what Belichick has done. So Belichick's untouchable, in my opinion, for that. No one can replicate what he's done. And that's amazing to say. He's won NFL Coach of the Year 3 times. That's amazing also. But no one's really accomplished what Belichick has done. Now, another thing I like to say about Bill Belichick, which I don't think Patriot fans are going to like here, is the cheating. Deflategate, which has famously happened, where the ball deflated against the Indianapolis Colts and the Patriots won, but they deflated the ball there, and Belichick was behind that. They didn't say much about Tom Brady in the report, but Belichick was definitely behind it. Then there was Spygate, which Belichick was all over that. Spying on other teams' practices and watching their plays. Again, cheating, and that's not allowed. That's not allowed. And with the Deflategate, because that helped them win the game, the Malcolm Butler thing happened, and that caused the Patriots to win the Super Bowl. So, yeah, that doesn't look good for cheating as an NFL head coach. Doesn't look good. And the Spygate, again, also doesn't look good. Just doesn't look good with them. So the cheating is a big issue for me for Bill Belichick. Those two things are controversial. The Deflategate is very controversial in NFL history, folks. Very controversial. Now, I like to mention a quote that Belichick has always said, and it's 3 simple words. Do your job. That's it. Do your job. I think everyone knows what I mean by that. It's simply doing your job. Don't do your job, you're out. Do your job, you succeed. That's all you can say. But once again, I think Belichick is an amazing head coach and still continuing. It's amazing to see him go this far without Tom Brady, too. Amazing to see that. And he always has great defense. He always has a great defense under Bill Belichick. This head coach coached 9 seasons with the Green Bay Packers. My team. That is Vince Lombardi. Now, I think most people know him for the Super Bowl trophy because that's what it's named after. Lombardi. That's why it's called his Lombardi Trophy, named after Vince Lombardi. Before he was the head coach of the Green Bay Packers, he was the offensive coordinator with the New York Giants. Interesting fact, though, with that was the defensive coordinator of the Giants at that time was Tom Landry. So again, two GOATs were on the same team. I don't understand how that could have been one of the best teams of all time. Don't get it. But that's interesting to me. He's a two-time Super Bowl champion, five-time NFL champion, two-time NFL Coach of the Year, made the Packers Hall of Fame, made the Commanders at the time, but made the Commanders Ring of Fame. His record, folks, 96 wins, 34 losses, 6 ties. That's a 73.8 winning percentage. His playoff record, 9-1. 9-1. His overall record was the 105 wins, 35 losses, 6 ties. Very impressive to see that. Now, with Vince Lombardi, he has coached many great players that have gone to the Hall of Fame, that have gone to the Packers Hall of Fame. Amazing players, such as Bart Starr, I think a lot of people know, Jim Taylor, Paul Hornung, Nishke, Davis, Kramer, Ringo, Greg. Those were coached by Vince Lombardi. Amazing to see that. And his coaching tree, which I don't think a lot of people are going to know half these people. Bill Austin, Norm Pecker, Tom Fierce, J.D. Roberts, Bill Benston, Forrest Gregg, Lindy Fanti, Bart Starr, Dick LeBayu. Now, but the thing I know about Vince Lombardi is the run. He would run the ball a lot. He would not stop and would have the guys run so many times. But with Bart Starr, he would have him throw a bunch too. So he would do a lot of play action here and there before it was truly known as play action. And he would succeed so much. But the run with the offensive line, that was his whole point when doing the play. He would do a bunch of trick plays. As I mentioned, the Packers jet sweep. Offensive line was the main piece for Vince Lombardi. That was the main piece of succeeding. As I mentioned with Greg, Kramer, Ringo, other guys too. That was the success. The Super Bowls, the championships, that's other things I know him for, and being named after the Vince Lombardi. One of the greatest head coaches of all time. One of the absolute greats.
Winning is not a sometime thing. It's an all-the-time thing. You don't win once in a while, and you don't do things right once in a while. You do them right all the time. Winning is a habit. You got to play with your heart, with every ounce of fiber in your body. I've never known a man work.
And I also like to mention a quote he once said. Winning is a habit. Watch your thoughts, they become your beliefs. Watch your beliefs, they become your words. Watch your words, and they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. The main takeaway I learned from this quote was his job was winning. That's what he wanted to accomplish, was win the whole thing, was the Super Bowl. I mean, that's the rest of the guys. But he wanted to win every game. That was his goal. He wanted to keep succeeding and winning. For me, as like a normal person, my goal is to graduate from college, fight and keep powering through it to succeed and get the job done. And then I get my diploma from college. That's what Vince Lombardi takes away. Get winning and succeeding your habit. Guys, succeed. Now, of course, there are times where you don't succeed and all that. But you got to learn from your mistakes. That's another thing I like to say from Vince Lombardi's quotes. Got to learn from mistakes and keep winning. Got to keep adjusting and help you succeed. So once again, Vince Lombardi was an amazing head coach. And now he gets to our ultimate GOAT. For me, it's coming down to Vince Lombardi, Bill Belichick, Bill Walsh created that West Coast offense, revolutionized the game. Bill Belichick created the defense, revolutionized the game. Vince Lombardi created amazing offensive running the football, set up plays, trick plays, all that. The weakness for Belichick is the cheating. As a coach in sports, cannot allow that. You cannot have your players cheating or yourself cheating to win. That's not the right way. For me, I have to choose Vince Lombardi here because A, he was named after the trophy. I feel like that has to be. Second, he's lost only one playoff game, 9-1, and has won the title so many times. I mean, yes, Bill Belichick won that many times, but I think Vince Lombardi created a culture. He was one of the first coaches to create that huge culture about winning and how to get the job done. And with Vince Lombardi's players, majority of those guys that I mentioned earlier weren't that good. They were just like average, mediocre guys. Now, some of them are amazing, like Nitschke, Bart Starr, Willie Woods, and a couple of them are Hall of Famers like Forrest Gregg. But he made the players better. Jerry Kramer, he made him to a Hall of Famer. Forrest Gregg, a little bit like better, but he made a bunch of other guys great too. So with that being said, I choose Vince Lombardi as the greatest head coach of all time in NFL history. That's in my opinion. If you want to disagree, put in the comments. I feel like some people are going to say Don Shula and Bill Belichick right away. Shula just because of the undefeated season. Belichick because how many Super Bowls he has. But as I mentioned throughout this entire GOAT series, it's opinion based. So my opinion, I think Vince Lombardi's the greatest head coach of all time. That's just me. But that's my list here, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you listening and tuning in. Make sure you leave a like on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already. Who did I not even mention on this list that should have gotten recognition, folks? Who should have been on this list? Let me know in the comments. Let me know. Stay tuned for our next episode. Yeah, this is the bonus feature. This is bonus episode 1, bonus episode 2. Our ultimate GOAT team. Our ultimate GOAT team. Stay tuned for that. We'll have special guests coming on there. But once again, that's a wrap for this video. Appreciate it. Have a great day, everyone.